Imagine for a moment that invisible chains are holding you back, chains of fear, curses, and hidden forces working against your destiny. Now, what if I told you that nature itself holds the keys to break these chains instantly? Not with rituals that complicate life, but with 7 spiritual flowers, each carrying a divine energy, each holding the power to dissolve witchcraft and cancel every curse that tries to stop you. Stay with me, because as you discover these 7 flowers, you'll see how something so simple can unlock freedom, protection, and peace in your life. When we begin to observe life with deeper awareness, we start to see that nothing in creation was made without intention. Every leaf, every drop of water, every ray of sunlight carries within it a certain vibration, a certain energy that affects the world around it. Flowers, though often dismissed as symbols of beauty or decoration, are among the most powerful carriers of these energies. They are not just colors and petals, they are vessels of frequency, designed by creation itself to hold, to transmit, and to release a certain spiritual power into the atmosphere. Think about it. Why do people feel peace when they walk into a garden? Why do hearts soften when a single flower is placed in their hands? Why does the fragrance of certain blossoms instantly shift a person's mood? It is because flowers operate on a level beyond what our eyes see. They carry a silent language that speaks directly to the spirit, bypassing the noise of the mind. And when you begin to understand this, you realize they are not just physical beings, they are spiritual tools, waiting to be recognized and used for what they were created to do. You see, the world is not only physical, there are forces, both seen and unseen, that influence our lives. Some of these forces lift us up, while others pull us down. Curses, witchcraft, negative energy, all of these thrive on fear, on vulnerability, on disconnection from the source of light. But when you connect with creation in its pure form, when you recognize the divine fingerprint placed upon flowers, you tap into something that instantly dismantles what was designed to hold you back. It is not superstition, it is alignment. Alignment with the natural order that was spoken into existence from the very beginning. Flowers do not argue with darkness. They do not resist it in panic. They simply radiate what they are. A rose does not need to defend itself against thorns. A lily does not need to prove its purity. They simply release their fragrance, their energy, and in that release, darkness cannot stay. In the same way, when these flowers are brought into your life with intention, they begin to release their frequency, creating an environment where negativity cannot remain. This is why they are more than ornaments. They are silent guardians of peace, carriers of light, and messengers of freedom. When you truly understand this, you no longer see flowers as fragile or powerless. You see them as allies in the spiritual journey, as reminders that creation itself stands with you against anything sent to destroy your path. And just as they open their petals to the sun, they invite you to open your life to a greater power, to allow the light within you to expand, and to dissolve whatever shadow tries to hide your destiny. Witchcraft has always thrived on one thing: fear. When fear enters the heart, it weakens the spirit, it clouds the mind, and it opens doors for negative forces to step in and influence a person's life. Witchcraft does not necessarily mean strange rituals or spells alone. Sometimes it is simply the unseen pressure of envy, the silent force of hatred, or the energy of ill intentions directed toward you. These are things many people dismiss, yet they feel the weight of them when they experience sudden setbacks, confusion, or a heaviness they cannot explain. Darkness needs agreement to stay, and fear becomes that agreement. But when fear is replaced with alignment to the higher order of life, its grip is instantly broken. This is where the energy of certain flowers becomes significant. Flowers carry a natural purity. They are untouched by the manipulations of human greed or anger. They simply exist in alignment with what they were created to be. That purity, that innocence of vibration, is powerful because it cannot be corrupted. When brought into your space, flowers release an energy that makes it impossible for fear to remain. And when fear leaves, the foundation of witchcraft crumbles, because its root has nothing left to feed on. Imagine walking into a room heavy with negative energy, the kind where you can almost feel the tension pressing against your skin. Now, bring into that same space a fragrance so pure, so uplifting, that the atmosphere begins to shift without a word being spoken. This is the silent disruption that flowers create. Witchcraft thrives in darkness, but flowers embody light. Their energy works not by fighting against the darkness, but by simply radiating a frequency that darkness cannot survive in. There are countless testimonies across history and cultures of people using specific flowers to cleanse their homes, protect their families, and guard their spirits. It is not because of a ritualistic superstition, but because flowers align with creation itself. They are connected to the divine order, and when you invite them into your environment with awareness, you are declaring that no negative force, no curse, no witchcraft has the authority to remain in your presence. Their vibration interrupts the flow of manipulation and turns it into stillness, peace, and clarity. Think of how a single candle can break the darkness in an entire room. That is what these flowers do on a spiritual level. They don't chase away witchcraft, they simply release their essence, and witchcraft dissolves because it cannot coexist with light. And the moment you recognize this, you stop living in fear of what others may try to send against you. You realize that the same creation that birthed these flowers is also standing with you, empowering you, surrounding you with protection, and ensuring that nothing meant to harm you can succeed. A curse is not always loud or visible. It does not always come with dramatic gestures or obvious signs. Many times it is subtle. It is the spoken word laced with bitterness, the silent wish for your downfall, the energy of resentment directed at your path. And while the words may be forgotten by the one who spoke them, the energy they carry can linger, waiting to attach itself to fear, insecurity, or weakness. This is why so many people find themselves carrying burdens they cannot explain, patterns that repeat, doors that close, relationships that crumble, and opportunities that vanish. They are not just battling circumstances, they are battling the residue of words and energies spoken against them. But here is the truth: energy can be redirected, absorbed, and transformed. Nothing dark has permanence when it meets the higher frequency of light. This is why certain flowers, with their natural vibration, act as vessels of cleansing. Their presence interrupts the flow of a curse by absorbing that negative energy and replacing it with frequencies of life, purity, and renewal. When you place these flowers in your space, you are not simply decorating your home. You are creating an atmosphere where curses cannot hold. The energy sent against you finds no place to land because it has already been neutralized. Think of it this way: if poison enters water, the water becomes corrupted, harmful to anyone who drinks from it. But if you introduce a substance that purifies, that restores balance, the poison loses its power and the water becomes safe again. A curse is like that poison. It contaminates the flow of life. Flowers are like the purifier. They restore the flow, they cleanse the atmosphere. They return everything back to its natural state of harmony. There is also something important about intention. When you connect with flowers consciously, when you invite them into your life with an understanding of their purpose, you are setting a spiritual order in motion. You are declaring that no word spoken against you has the authority to define your destiny. The curse may have been spoken, but it cannot stand when the atmosphere it needs to survive has been dissolved. The flowers become a living reminder that creation itself is on your side, that negativity cannot outlast purity, and that what was meant to break you can be undone in an instant. In this way, you move beyond the fear of curses. You begin to live with the confidence that no matter what is spoken, no matter what energy is sent, you are not defenseless. You are covered, you are protected, and you are walking in alignment with a higher frequency. And when you walk in that alignment, curses lose their meaning, because they cannot touch the life of someone who lives in the presence of light. Just as some plants naturally filter toxins from the air, certain flowers hold the ability to filter spiritual toxins from the atmosphere around you. They stand quietly, without noise, without demand, yet their presence shifts the energy of an entire space. It is easy to underestimate them because they do not speak, they do not move with force, but this is where their strength lies. Flowers protect by radiating what they are: light, purity, and balance. And in the presence of such qualities, anything that carries darkness finds no ground to remain. Witchcraft and curses rely on entry points. They look for cracks in the walls of your life, moments of fear, environments heavy with negativity, spaces filled with tension and unrest. In such places, darkness settles easily. But when flowers are present, especially those aligned with higher vibrations, they fill those spaces with a frequency that leaves no room for intrusion. Their essence becomes like a silent guard, invisible yet unshakable. The same way we trust the air we breathe to sustain us, these flowers work in silence to sustain spiritual clarity and protection without needing acknowledgement. Think of how a flame keeps insects away at night. The fire is not chasing them, it is simply being what it is, and in its glow certain things cannot survive. Flowers embody the same principle. They do not chase curses, they do not confront witchcraft, they simply release their essence, and by doing so, they make the environment inhospitable for any dark intention. This is why many traditions across cultures have always placed flowers at entrances, in sacred spaces, or in homes. Whether or not people understood the full depth of it, they sensed something that flowers protect without effort, without conflict, without resistance. When you walk into a space filled with such protection, you feel it immediately. Your heart rests, your mind clears, your spirit feels lighter. That is because protection is not only about keeping something out, it is also about strengthening what is within. Flowers remind the spirit of its own purity. They align you again with the natural order of life. And in that alignment, you become less vulnerable to external attacks because your inner strength grows. Protection is not only outside, it also awakens within you. This is why flowers are more than ornaments of beauty. They are silent guardians, standing in corners, on tables, by windows, doing their work without demanding recognition. Their petals open, their fragrance spreads, and their energy flows freely, surrounding you with a shield you cannot see but can always feel. They guard not by force, but by presence, and that presence ensures that no curse, no envy, no hidden darkness can cross the threshold of your life. When you begin to use these flowers with awareness, you realize that the true power is not only in the petals or fragrance, but in what they awaken inside of you. They are reminders, mirrors of what already exists within the spirit. Just as a flower does not struggle to bloom, it simply responds to light, to water, to the rhythm of creation. You too carry within you the ability to blossom when aligned with the higher order of life. Flowers become a bridge, guiding you back to that alignment, awakening the strength that fear and negativity once tried to suppress. So often people search outside themselves for protection, for deliverance, for freedom. They run from one ritual to another, from one method to the next, always believing that the answer lies somewhere beyond their reach. But the truth is, freedom begins within. A curse can only take hold if the spirit allows it. Witchcraft can only succeed if the inner ground is weak. When the spirit is awake, when the inner light is burning strong, no darkness from the outside can penetrate. Flowers play a role here because they help you remember. They remind you of purity, of strength, of resilience, of beauty that continues to shine no matter the season. Picture yourself holding a flower in your hand. You observe how delicate it appears, yet how powerful its fragrance is. You see how easily it can be crushed, yet how persistently it grows again and again, breaking through soil, reaching for the light. In that simple act of holding it, something inside you awakens. You recognize that same resilience within yourself. You recognize that no matter how much negativity has pressed against you, the spirit within you can rise again, just as the flower blooms again. This awakening is not about performing a ritual, it is about reconnecting. It is about tuning your spirit to the higher frequencies of creation. And when you stand in that awareness, curses lose their grip, witchcraft loses its influence, and fear loses its voice. You realize that you are not at the mercy of external forces. You are in alignment with something greater, and that alignment makes you untouchable. As you spend time with these flowers, as you consciously allow their essence to surround you, you will notice how clarity begins to grow. Decisions become lighter, your thoughts less clouded, your heart more at peace. This clarity is the fruit of awakening, and from that clarity comes resilience, the unshakable strength to walk through life unafraid of what others may say, send, or plan against you. You begin to live not from a place of reaction to darkness, but from a place of expression of light. True freedom is not something you experience for a moment and then lose the next day. Real freedom is a state of being, a way of walking through life where you no longer fear what others may try to place upon you. Many people experience small breakthroughs. They feel lighter for a while, protected for a season, but because they do not remain in alignment, the same patterns return. It is not enough to break a curse once. You must learn how to walk in such a way that curses can never find you again. Flowers, in their silent and constant presence, teach us this truth. They show us that freedom is not an event, it is a lifestyle. Think of how a flower remains rooted. It draws nourishment from the soil, from the sun, from the rain, and because it is consistent in this connection, it keeps blooming again and again. In the same way, when you remain rooted in the higher order of creation, when you live in daily alignment with purity and light, you no longer need to fight battles against darkness. Darkness cannot remain where you dwell. The flowers remind you that the energy you surround yourself with is not temporary. It can be sustained, renewed, and lived in day after day. Walking in freedom means you stop looking over your shoulder, waiting for the next curse, the next attack, the next setback. It means you live with the confidence that what was once sent to break you can no longer touch you. The shield around you is not something you put on and take off. It becomes a natural atmosphere, a part of who you are. Just as flowers continuously release fragrance without effort, you too begin to release peace, clarity, and strength without forcing it. It flows naturally because you are in alignment with the very essence of life. The mistake many people make is to believe that freedom is fragile, that protection can easily be lost. But flowers teach us something different. They endure storms, they survive seasons of drought, they grow again after being cut down. They show us that resilience is not temporary, it is built into creation itself. And when you choose to live in harmony with that, your freedom is not dependent on circumstances. It becomes a constant reality, a foundation that nothing external can shake. This is why walking in freedom is more powerful than simply breaking free once. You are no longer vulnerable to repeated cycles. You no longer live in fear of what could come against you. You become like the flower that continues to bloom no matter what, releasing light into the world around you, untouched by darkness, unshaken by curses, untouchable by witchcraft.